Hello world, my name is Dana ID Matthews and welcome to my reviews about stuff episode 11. And today I'm going to be reviewing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And I'm switching things up a bit here. I'm done with putting numbers to art in any form. If you like having scores, that's cool. To each their own. I know a lot of other people are doing that and have been doing that, and I've been doing that in the past. But I'm simply going to give you my opinion, my likes, dislikes, and if you should go see it or not, and that's about it, because that's what you want to know at the end of the day is, right? Like, is this thing I'm reviewing worth engaging with, in my humble opinion? So I'm going to break it down, my emotions, my thoughts on this movie, give a few factoids, and let you know whether it's worth watching. And in this particular instance, is the movie better than the original? Because this is volume 2 of the Guardians of the Galaxy movie series. So here we go. And right off the bat, I'm going to point out the obvious. Baby Groot has got to be the most adorable character in the whole Marvel universe. So if you don't remember, at the end of the first movie, Groot dies protecting his team, and with his remains, Rocket, the genetically modified raccoon, saves some of the old Groot to plant and grow anew, or a new, and a new completely different being, Baby Groot, kind of like Groot's son or spiritual successor in a way. As soon as the movie starts, the Guardians are fighting a huge monster while Baby Groot dances to old school music while somehow avoiding all the danger everywhere around him. This is pretty much his thing and his trope throughout the movie, aside from being cute. Having a cute Baby Groot voice, saying I'm Groot, looking small, and this Groot is a little more aggressive than the old one. Uh, and Groot is young in the regard that it makes sense because he's younger. He does not in control of his emotions. He hasn't experienced all these things. He's like a kid. And it makes for a few hilarious moments as he can't do much damage yet because of his size. Um, when it comes to being funny, though, Drax the Destroyer, at least for me, takes the cake. It's interesting how far sarcasm or lack thereof can take comedy in a movie. Drax lines were all hilarious. Uh, as usual, failing to comprehend sarcasm and answering to it with extreme honesty, as he did in the first movie. There was one part I found particularly funny when Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord, gets exposed by his father's adopted alien daughter by having her powers of reading emotions used against him. She exposes his sexual feelings for Gamora, and Drax just starts laughing like hardcore. The laughter sounds genuine, like as if he heard the funniest thing in the world. Then his emotions get read by this new alien while he's laughing, and she also bursts out laughing, making a point to note the raw joy in Drax's emotions that come with his laughter. It was hilarious. I'm really impressed with how the wrestler Batista has really settled into this role. It suits him really well, and he does a great job with the lines that he has. Now, here's the downside, at least for me or in character or whatever. When it comes to Star Lord Peter Quill, I have to say that most times I feel like his performance acting wise on the screen is lackluster. I just don't think he's that great of an actor. More than a few times during the movie, he would deliver his line in like a lazy way that I think is supposed to come off as nonchalant and comedic, but for me ended up feeling just bad and lazy acting. Uh, they did their best to give Star Lord tons of shine in the movie, of course, centering the movie's plot around his lineage on his father's side. And I won't say they did. I won't say that he doesn't have his good times. He's supposed to be a funny character, the lackadaisical leader, and at times he accomplishes this, a witty joke here and there. But during times of pure dialogue, like when Star Lord and Gamora are talking about the unspoken thing, and which is the feelings they have for each other but don't say aloud, he gets boring. Like unless there's something else going on around him to use for jokes, his acting on its own is average at best to me. And in my opinion, like honestly, at times it made the movie a little less immersive. Now, Gamora is a different story. Her acting was and is solid. Always serious, but in the right situations, always come up for her to be funny, or vulnerable in this movie, which I really enjoyed. We get to see a range of emotions from her in this one, and considering the amount of like CGI and green screen and action scenes, I'm surprised they were able to find spots to flesh her out so much. Like the relationship between her and her sister was, kind of a big part of the movie, and you learn a lot about their upbringing, the jealousy and resentfulness, and overall environment that breeded who they are today. And at the end, we get to see the two sisters be a little sentimental, which was cool. They hug it out, and it was awesome. It was awesome to see Gamora like that. And not only was she cool, not emotional sense, she is also like just an awesome action star. She kicks ass with her swords, establishing herself as probably the most skilled fighter of the crew, from what I can see. Um, and alongside her camaraderie with the crew and being emotionally vulnerable, she's just a really well fleshed out character in this one. And I want to add real quick, and maybe it's just me, but especially with the addition of Baby Groot and how he takes to her, and just like the overall vibe and relationship on the ship and whatnot, and everybody around. It looks to me like Gamora is taking on a mother like role on the ship. Um, from the looks of it, which isn't bad, but yeah, I think she's definitely uh, got that added trope to her character. So she's definitely the ship's mom figurehead, at least from what I can tell. Now Rocket, who doesn't love a raccoon that loves money and guns? Basically, the only two things you need to know about Rocket at the end of the day. He cares for his crew, he cares for guns and explosives, and he cares for his ship. And that's pretty much about it. He's got a lot of male fragility issues, but it kind of adds to his, overall, tough guy ambience. This time around, he plays more of a little minor role, little side story with Baby Groot. He takes care of Groot most of the time. Um, and since, of course, him and Groot were the best of friends, so it makes sense that he probably feels the most attached to this version of Groot as well. His dialogue with everyone else on the ship is what makes him relevant, and his love for money or ship gear or whatever it was, it's what gets the main enemies in the plot line of the movie, on their tail, trying to take them out. He's funny at parts. He's loud. It's Rocket. He's genetically modified raccoon. What more is there to say about him? He's a cool character, part of the team. Really cool. He has a good relationship with Star Lord. They're clearly like they got a good bond there. Now, I usually don't say much about the bad guys in this movie, but this one was different and not at the same time. Now, quick spoiler alert, Peter Quill's dad is the main bad guy in this movie. We find out that he was born a lonely, omnipotent being, aka a god. And after discovering life outside himself, he tried procreation with the plan of taking over all of the known universe. However, every race that he tried to get down with never gave him a child that had his, godlike genes in them as well, except Peter. Yes, we discover that Star-Lord is half a demigod. And a quick side note, there's a scene where Star-Lord's dad is showing him like different races he's tried having sex with in these like little pod statue mannequin type things. And like just like what's up with those? Like you're an omnipotent being with infinite power. You can use all of your imagination. Anything you think of will come true while on your planet, and you store your memories in like physical faceless mannequin type deals. I don't know. I just thought it was weird. It looked cool, as like a thing, but like I don't know. I thought it was weird, and like how he stays in human form with every race that he's trying to procreate with. Like, yeah, you wouldn't try to blend in a little bit. Like, I don't know. I thought that was a particular choice, but whatever. Maybe it's just me. Um, However, the biggest and most surprising development to me was the relationship that Star Lord uh, has with his stepdad. Yeah, I forget his name. It's the blue guy with the horn thing with a he whistles and he's killing and whistling. It's a little like pencil looking thing, killing everybody, which is an awesome weapon. Love it, by the way. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I forget his name, but you find out that when he kidnapped Star Lord as a child, he was actually trying to save him from his father because of spoilers. And at the end of the movie, unfortunately, he dies. But he gets a hero send off, and I got the feels a bit. Being a stepdad in particular myself, I was feeling it, and he went out like a boss. Nothing but respect for him now. When I thought he was kind of a douche before, but he goes out, and the overall feel you get about him, or the overall thought, is like he's a badass rebel dad that you love. And as a little side joke, is Star Lord's David Hasselhoff, which is pretty hilarious. Um, so all right, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, is it a good movie? Yes. Would I recommend seeing it? Absolutely. Especially if you saw the first one, or if you just like superhero movies in general, this would be a must see for you. The first one was super popular, kind of came out of nowhere, and this one obviously just rode off of its coattails, and does a good job. It's as good as the first movie, in my opinion. It's just as good as the first, and depending on who you are, that opinion will change. But at the end of the day, if you've seen the first one, you'll be pleased with number two. And the more story development, characters are more familiar with each other. The adventure is continuing. It's out of its infancy stages, and the movie reflects that. It's a great Marvel movie. If you haven't seen it in theaters, do so in 3D preferably, because they go ham with those sort of movie effects. It was a good looking movie. Definitely just as engaging and funny as the first one, and I highly recommend it to any fan, or even if you're not a fan and know nothing of Marvel or the series. It's a good movie. It's funny, cool action scenes, space aliens. You know what it is. What is there not to like? So yeah, check it out. It's definitely worth your money. If it's not, if you don't get the chance to see it in theaters, definitely copy it when it comes out on DVD, or definitely check it out when it comes out on Netflix, whatever. It's a good movie. It's a dope Marvel movie. It's in a universe with all the other Marvel things, and it's cool to patch things up together, and you see Easter eggs here and there, and it's a good movie, good continuation, just as good as the first one. Check it out. So that's it for me. Thank you very much for listening. This was a review of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you when I see you. Peace out.